He haunts the places of the dead. Every night, the townspeople hear him shrieking among the tombs. When they're quick enough, they catch him, wrap his wrists and ankles in chains, and haul his naked body, securely shackled, back to town. But there's no containing the crazy. He escapes each time. Trailing broken chains behind him, he wanders the wilds, tearing at his skin until it bleeds, trading one kind of pain for another. If he has a name, no one knows it. If he has a history, no one remembers it. If he has a soul worth saving inside his living corpse, no one sees it. No one looks. Until Jesus does. The story of the Gerasene demonic is a tough one for the 21st century Christians to enter into because it's full of details we find bizarre. Chatty demons, suicidal swine, instantaneous healing. Isn't this the stuff of black comedy or horror? How is an ancient exorcism story good news for us? I know that much ink has been spilt in recent decades trying to address what contemporary Christians find outdated and troubling about this story. Was the man really possessed by demons or just mentally ill? Isn't there a danger involved in conflating acute psychological suffering with evil? If the demons were real, why did Jesus negotiate with them? Why did he even show them mercy? And what about those poor pigs? Why did they have to die to secure the demons' healing? Didn't Jesus care about them? Or about the economic welfare of the pig-herding townspeople who watched in horror as their livelihood disappeared over a cliff? These are valuable questions, and I don't mean to dismiss them. But I worry that focusing on the stranger parts of the story prevents us from seeing how it can be our story, a story for our here and now. So indulge me, please, as I sidestep the tough stuff and share why we can be haunted in a good and necessary ways by the healing of the Gerasene demonic. Why his encounter with Jesus makes us gasp and squirm, smile and cry, linger and recoil, repent and return. First, I think the story is our story because it begins precisely where we ourselves need to begin, and that is with a question. What is your name? Jesus asked when he first encounters the possessed man by the lake. Remember, the man approaches Jesus, not to ask for help, but to push Jesus away, maybe to scare Jesus away. In all likelihood, his approach is violent and feral. But Jesus asks for a name anyway, and by doing so, he begins to recall the broken man to himself, to his humanity, his beginnings, to his unique and precious identity as a child beloved of God. What is your name? Has there ever been a more loving, searching question? What would happen if you allowed Jesus to ask it of you? What would happen if you asked it of others? Who are you? Who are you really? Beneath the labels and the diagnoses, the pretense and the piety, the fear and the shame. Who are you when no one in this world is looking? What name do you yearn to be called in the lonely stretches of the night? Who were you before you lost yourself, before something vital in you died? Do you even remember? Jesus begins where we must begin, with an honest questioning and naming of ourselves. Can we allow him to search us so deeply? Can we hear him asking the tender and intolerable question? What is your name? Second, I believe the story is our story because it tells us the unflinching truth about our condition. Legion, the man says in response to Jesus' question. My name is Legion, a multitude, a vast host, an incalculable swarm. Why? Because Luke's gospel tells us many demons torment him. In other words, the sources of his brokenness are myriad. The assault on his mind, soul, and body is multi-pronged. It comes from many sources braided together. Perhaps it doesn't matter how we choose to explain these demons. Regardless of what language we use, biblical, theological, medical, or sociological, what we know for sure is that the man's condition strips him of agency, sanity, dignity, and community. It keeps him in isolation. It renders him anonymous. It encourages him to mutilate his own body. It deadens his soul and divides his mind. In short, it deprives him of self-control and propels him towards self-destruction. Does any of this sound familiar? The truth is, what ails us as human beings is legion. The evil that haunts us has many faces, many names. We are all, every one of us, vulnerable to forces that seek to take us over, to bind our mouths, to take away our true names, and to separate us from God and from each other. Some of us suffer from depression or anxiety. Some of us are addicted to sex, alcohol, wealth, or thinness. Some of us experience the world at deafening volume in colors too bright for our sensitive eyes. Some of us are slaves to the internet or prone to bitterness or caught up in cycles of dishonesty or in lust with our own rightness. Some of us can't shake traumatic memories. Some of us were abused as children. Some of us are seething with jealousy. Some of us are imprisoned within systems of injustice that stretch back so many centuries we can't imagine liberation. Some of us experience our skin colors, our accents, our genders, or our sexualities as magnets for other people's hatred. Some of us suffer illnesses that crisscross the boundaries of medicine and culture, nature and nurture. Some of us know exactly what St. Paul is talking about when he says, "What I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do." If we expand the definition of possession to include everything that conspires to keep us dead when God wants us alive, then the story of the Gerasene demoniac is not an ancient oddity. It is the air we breathe. It is the zeitgeist we inhabit. It is the pandemic of our time. That's the bad news. But it's not where the story ends. The third reason I consider the story our story is because it tells us exactly where salvation lies. And it does so without hesitation or apology. When the demoniac sees Jesus, he falls down before him. When the townspeople come running to see what's going on, they find the man sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind. Salvation, in other words, lies at the feet of Jesus. It lies in surrendering to the one who alone has the power to cast out the horrors which torment us. This is not because Jesus is an arrogant megalomaniac. It's because evil, in all of its incarnations, finds him terrifying. It's because there is no death-dealing power in this universe that can withstand the saving, healing, resurrecting power of Jesus. It's because even the most destructive demons we can conjure up beg for mercy when he comes to town. But is this the story we offer to the possessed who walk through our doors each Sunday? Is it a story we even believe anymore? Or has the long haul of this thing we call Christianity, with its stretches of unanswered prayers, its unhealed diseases, its too frequent grinds of grief, loss, doubt, and boredom, worn out our souls and watered down our claims? The problem is, we have an eschatology that is glorious, but incomplete. We live, as it were, on Holy Saturday. We live in the uncomfortable tension between the already and the not yet. Yes, Jesus has already defeated death. Yes, the demons already fear his name. Yes, we are right to look to God for the healing and liberation the Gospels arrest to so faithfully. But no, the battle is not yet over. No, the abyss hasn't yet swallowed the demons whole. No, the complete freedom we seek is not yet within our grasp. But that doesn't mean the story is false. It means we have unspeakably more to look forward to. It means our hope is grounded in what Jesus has already done, in the power he has already demonstrated. It means we have every reason to share the good news with confidence now. If only we could stop there. But Luke goes one step further in his gospel account of the Gerasene demoniac. So we must too. The fourth reason to embrace this story as our own is because it illustrates an unpleasant truth about human relationships. When the townspeople see that the demon-possessed man is healed, they don't rejoice. They express no relief, no gratitude, no hospitality, no awe. Instead, they recoil in fear and beg Jesus to go away. What does this mean? Maybe it means we humans prefer to stick with the demons we know, rather than embrace the freedoms we don't. Maybe it means we need some people to be bad so that we can be good. Maybe it means the shackles and chains that bind so many of God's children are the instruments of our own cruel making, the weapons we wield to manage our own fears. Maybe it means we settle for tolerance instead of challenging ourselves to love. Maybe it means the gospel doesn't always bring peace. Maybe it also brings upheaval, messing with our moral categories, economic comforts, and social structures in ways we find offensive. Maybe it means resurrection sometimes comes along and kicks our butts so hard we ask Jesus to leave us alone because we'd so much rather stay dead. The story ends with Jesus commissioning the healed man to stay where he is and serve as the first missionary to his townspeople. The same townspeople who feared, shunned, trapped, and shackled him for years. I have to admit, this detail makes me laugh, albeit ruefully. Isn't this just like Jesus? To choose the very people we consider the most unholy, the most unredeemable, the most repulsive and unworthy, and commission them to teach us the gospel. That is God all over. Here, then, is a story about our truest names. Here is a story about resistance and resurrection. Here is a story about the Jesus who finds us naked among the tombs, clothes us with dignity, scatters the demons to save our souls, and turns us into storytellers who will help heal the world. Here is our story. Oh, we have a few announcements today. The first of which is the parade concession stand, which is next Saturday. We'll be gathering here at 3 p.m. 2:30 to 3 p.m. to start cooking so that we can have everything ready for when everybody starts to line up. If you are able to come, if you are able to bring soda, Capri Sun, water, and or popsicles, please do so. That helps us in our things to hand out. A few different things that we're doing this year is we are handing out little chapsticks. They were the easiest to come by, that has our information on them. So it has the inclusivity shield, the Episcopal shield, our name, our service time, and our website, in hopes that they take something from us that they carry with them. If so, the Spirit ever moves them and they know where they can go. We are also going to identify the ministry that we are going to support before we actually go to the parade, so that way people know where their money is going to, in hopes that they may donate just a little bit more, or just really informational purposes. This year, we are actually creating a new ministry for St. John's. It is still in the works, but I will give you the gist of it. It is called Laundry of Love, and once a month we will go to the local laundromat and we will support people by giving them free loads of laundry. We'll have 2 people at minimum there, one to help with the actual putting of the money in and the soap and whatnot, and then one to be able to have conversations with people. It is not meant as a proselytizing moment. It's not like we're going to take the Bible there and go, remember this. It is a matter of, hey, you're doing your laundry and you have an hour. Do you want to sit and talk rather than just sit here in silence? So it's kind of that kind of thing. I still have to get a few permissions here and there, but that is what we are going to go and support this year. Okay. You have 2 announcements? 2 announcements. Go for it.
So I'm going to come to the front just so the audio picks up a little bit better. We talked a little bit about the College of Congregational Development throughout the years. When it was a new thing from diocese, perhaps my error in pronunciation or people's quick response, I think there was an impression that it was a politically related thing, because we think about a congregational, but it's congregational, which means the people like us is who this college is for. It is part of a larger movement across the country where it's really about educating congregations to be able to be healthy, sustaining, life-giving members who are able to support our callings and lead the body of Christ out in the world. And so it's something that congregations felt called to do and found that they were really getting a good outcome of that experience. So it started in Washington and has moved to different places. And so our diocese is lucky enough to be able to host one of those. And so I participated in this a few years ago. It's actually a 2-year commitment. It's for 1 week. This year it is July 20th through the 25th, hosted at Waycross. And so I think my big takeaway was really the diocese isn't trying to do anything to us, but they are more trying to give us skills to do things within our own area to make us a healthy congregation. While we lean on our priests quite a lot for day-to-day things, it's more than just a magical priest coming in and solving all the problems of making a healthy congregation. It's really equipping a lot of the laity to do that. And so the best experience with participating is that you go with your priest and a couple other members. And so we would love to send a team from St. John's. Part of this is you are going to basically what feels like lectures, and then you have small group conversations where you may practice a skill set. But you start the day with morning prayer. You have noonday prayer. You end the day with evening prayer. Because it's a Waycross, I actually found a group of people, and we started hiking in the morning before all of that, because there was a lot of sitting. So being out in nature and just being able to start your day that way, it really became a wonderful spiritual practice that I looked forward to that second year. And the group of people that we gathered in the morning to go for walks even increased as well. And so I just think it's one of those opportunities that it doesn't fit in everybody's schedule, isn't for everyone, but was really a great experience. It is part of a, let's teach you things, now why don't you go do something in your congregation, see how it goes, write a reflection paper. So you do that between year 1 and year 2. So even if you're not actively going to go, you may be asked to participate in an activity that helps those who do go throughout this process. In the second year, you learn more things, and there's an opportunity to actually take a test to get a special certificate that you completed the training. It's very supportive, but it's definitely one of those things where, like, you're sitting out in the rocker on the big house at Waycross, and you're like refreshing your memory on some of these different models, because they're teaching us different models of church, how churches are, also how organizations operate and go through areas where they become stagnant. You got to infuse it with something else. Infusing a group with some energy is not about always finding young people, but it's how we take care of each other and continuing education. So anyway, that's my big plug for, please talk to Mother Kelsey if you are able, interested, or just curious more about it. I think we might have her and at least one other person going this year, so possibly two. So once again, something to consider. If not, you'll hear more about it as they will in projects.
And we won't be the only ones, because you have been here, and I think somebody's done at least 1 year. No? Have you done any of it? No. Okay. Anyway, I think it's perfect timing. It is a requirement for me to go as a bishop, just because I'm transferring into your priest in charge role. It doesn't do me any good if I go by myself. So I would love to have a team to see what we can do. You guys have been working in terms of laity of the church for a very long time. This is not to add more to that. This is to add more direction. So instead of overwhelming ourselves with the day-to-day church and everything like that, it's how do we infuse that energy moving forward.
And if anybody is interested in helping do the bulletin inserts, I would love to have you help me. So Jeremy's been fantastic and has worked ahead. So if you're interested during coffee hour or right after coffee hour today, we can actually do the inserts for next week. So we've got me the hymns a week in advance. So if you're like, maybe I want to, but I don't have time outside of Sunday to do it, let's do it on Sunday together. I'm here with you. We can get that taken care of. Once again, the more people who know how to do it, it's just better. I think that helps all of us. And less frustrating to get a buddy here who can help you if something doesn't go right. So let me know about that. Also, by popular request, I updated the church directory handout. So we have about 10 copies of the church directory in the parish hall, which means I printed it, so it's already out of date. So I know I found errors. So when you find those errors, point them out to me. We'll get a new revision out, and we'll continue to evolve that as well.
Are there any other suggestions? Is there any other suggestions? What? What? I'm not saying that. I'm trying to play with the chat.
So, the biggest update from Bedford is we did vote officially to move forward with Mother Kelsey's letter of agreement to transition to priest in charge. We have to work out some numbers because apparently 3/8 time just blows our brain to try and figure out exactly what the numbers should be. But other than updates that Canon Bridget is going to assist us with, it has been voted on to move forward, hopefully effective July 1st. One other announcement, not from Bedford, just from me, is I am working on the next schedule for my ministry for ushers, readers, chalice, and prayers. It will run from July until December. So if you, I'm going to use the same names of the same people in the same roles, unless somebody tells me that they'd like to be added or removed from that.
What was the other one that you said?
Thanks to Bill and Carol for picking up some limbs. We had a storm come through, and they had put some eye, and it sounds like Carol ran across one of our neighbors helping to pick up some limbs. But ultimately, Bill and Carol took the limbs that fell in our yard to be removed. So that little bit of
Awesome. And then don't forget there is a mowing sign up. Kyle has been mowing. I believe Bill has been mowing. If you're able to push a lawnmower, we have a sign up for that. Yes. Any updates on the garden? Our tomato pages are done. All right, we have enough tomato cut. It's so hard being a baby. It really is. Okay, so we've got all our tomato pages. I assume something will start producing soon. There's tomatoes already out. Okay, awesome. That's great. And then there is a coffee hour sign up as well. We want to keep that going throughout the summer. Today there is a Pride themed coffee hour. So we have Sarah and I did a charcuterie board in the shape of the inclusivity flag. So please come on out and enjoy some of that with us. Feel like that's it. Maybe. We're going to say that's it. Oh, I won't be here next week, but I'll be here for the parade. But otherwise, we have the Skate the Rainbow Pride Mixer for the roller derby team. That is where we invite everybody who wants to skate, as long as we fill our rosters. We're going to have a level 2 and a level 3 junior game, and then we're going to have an A, B, and a BC adult game. So if you're interested in coming and checking out what we do, that's at 2 and 4 on Sunday, so you'll be able to see that. Okay. Through Jesus, therefore, let us continually offer to God a sacrifice of praise, the fruit of lips that openly profess his name. And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased.